Hello, everyone. Um, Welcome to our fourth professional development webinar offered by the Research and Theory Division of AECT. I am Lucas Vasconcelos, Assistant Professor at University of South Carolina, and I'll be moderating this webinar. And I'm honored to introduce you to the President-elect of the Research and Theory Division, Dr. Brett Stout-Willett, who is Assistant Professor of Instructional Systems and Learning Technologies at Florida State University. All right, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Lucas. Happy to be here. As I was putting together the slide deck, I was reflecting on the year that it's been, because these conference planning meetings started last November, and I was going back through and trying to find information and make sure I was getting a comprehensive view. I was going back and reading some of the notes when we first put together the call for proposals, and I realized that was late October 2022 that I started thinking about this convention. So the fact that we're now a couple weeks out, in 2 weeks we will be there. We'll be halfway through the conference 2 weeks from today. It's just, it feels like a relief on one hand. It's this thing that I've been planning. It's like planning a party for so long, and then you're just like, oh wow, okay, it's almost here. I can't wait to be there with everybody. And to get to host that party and for you all to enjoy it. So I'm going to take just a little bit of time of some slides. These are available to you all later. Just give a little bit of an overview, a little bit of a preview of what the convention will be like, and particularly how Research and Theory Division is going to be represented. I feel like we have a great showing every single year. I feel especially excited for this year, having seen all the details behind the scenes. But we'll get into that, and hopefully you'll show up excited to come participate and benefit from and contribute to all the great Research and Theory Division aspects of AECT 2023. All right, so the slides are available. I know these are going to go out through our various RTD social media channels, but if you want, this is a direct link. Usually when I speak, I share my slides publicly, so you're welcome to pass these along. They're built using R Markdown and shared on GitHub, so you're welcome to, if you'd like any aspect of it, you're welcome to just grab and modify, just trying to practice some of the values of open science here, which again is sort of a hallmark of Research and Theory Division. All right, so first I wanted to set the context. Before I get too deep into the details of Research and Theory Division, I wanted to set the stage of where are we at with our organization and where are we at as an organization in our history. And so, as hopefully you're aware at this point, this is a very special AECT convention. It's not just another year. Every year is great, but this year is the 100th year of our organization, 100 years of thinking about educational technologies and communication and instructional design practices. And so we wanted to purposely set the theme of this convention is a little bit reflective, introspective, and forward-looking all at the same time. And again, I think we've captured that well as a division. But as you head to the convention, that's something to really think about and pay attention to. So not just, oh, what's interesting this year, but what's interesting this year in light of 100 years of people before us having done this good work, and what might the next 10 years look like? What might the next 100 years look like from here? This is kind of the moment to capture some of that. So the theme of the conference is reflections and transformations, and I want you to keep that in mind, both in this brief intro to the conference, but also as you show up in Orlando or online and participate. So again, think about the reflections back, think about the transformations looking forward. All right, so 100 years as an organization, and this is straight from the call for proposals. So again, I know I typically skim over this stuff when these emails come out for all the conferences, but again, just to take a moment to appreciate where we're at, because it's not every day that your organization, your kind of home, your academic home turns 100. So just wanted to highlight a couple of these sentences that, again, we agonized over last October as we started thinking about what this conference was going to be. But the idea is that we want to continue to address the critical issues in our field, but also reflect back on where we're coming from. So we're going to keep tackling the problems. We're going to keep thinking carefully. We're going to keep seeking, really quality evidence for all the practices that we have in our field. But we're going to do that this year, at least with a little bit more reflection. So we're going to think back to some of the previous contributions, where we come from. So our current practices are what they are because of where we've been. We're going to think about some of the fundamental theories and practices that contribute to today's research, which is, of course, especially important for the Research and Theory division. We are so deeply immersed in research methodologies and learning theories that, this is absolutely speaking our language. And I think RTD has a lot to offer back to the larger organization because we care so much about research and theory. We hold those two things and benefit from the organization, but also contribute back. And the final piece to reflect on is how well are we benefiting all the people who come to our trainings, all the people who learn from the things that we design. Now is a great moment to kind of reflect back on 100 years ago. Where were we at with that? 50 years ago, where were we at? 10 years ago, where were we at? How are we doing today at serving the needs and benefiting everyone who is going to receive and partake in our designs? And how might we improve in the next 10 years, in the next 100 years? How might we do this even better? All right, so that's the context. Again, that looking back and looking forward in this moment of the 100 years of AECT. So then who are we? We're one of many divisions. We have a particular angle that we look at this organization and this work, the professional work that we share. But what is it that we particularly bring? So in our name, it kind of gets to the point. We care about both research and theory. We care about innovative methods, and that's one of the hallmarks. So a lot of the cutting edge types of methodologies and methods in our field are going to be housed in RTD. But we also deeply care and pair those methods with theories of learning, theories of human performance, and those types of things. And for us in our division, we're never really happy if it's just a tool that you can use. We don't really do just best practices for their own sake. It's always a best practices, but rooted in what we know in past research, what we know about human performance and learning. This is, again, the technical language from the website and our and our kind of official charter as a division. Easy to skim past this stuff, but again, just wanted to highlight again who we are before we get into what we will be doing in Orlando. So again, we're the division that promotes the development and advancement of theory. So we really try and push that out. We try and remind everybody else, including ourselves, when we get overly excited about the tools. But we really are trying to hold tightly theory. We're trying to develop new theories that will benefit the field. That's the home that has its home in RTD. We also we advocate for different people. We advocate for change in our division and in the organization and in the world. I'll say some of our specific initiatives towards these things, but again, it's theory not just to hold on to the past, but it's theory to make us better moving into the future. So again, this 100-year marker of looking back and looking forward really feels a lot like what we do in research and theory all the time. So this feels a lot like a homecoming conference to me. All right, so a couple of those initiatives that RTD specializes in that I mentioned a moment ago. There are three of these that I want to highlight, and for me, research and theory is like the other divisions in that we have lots of presentations, we do research, we do webinars, we do those kind of hallmarks that most of AECT does, but we have a few things that I think are distinct and noteworthy. So the first is that we host an early career symposium. I know most of our board members in research and theory have benefited from this, we take seriously the development of scholars. So the merging of research methodologies and theories of learning and performance, that's kind of paramount for folks who are entering the field. And so we every year at the convention, and around the convention, because we do some things online as well before and after, but we gather a handful of up and coming graduate students and early career scholars, and we bring them together. We offer mentors, we offer expert guest speakers, and it's just this really rich and incredibly transformative time for them early in their careers. So a little bit like this image of a Pokemon trainer going out, we walk alongside our early career folks and help them be able to perform their work better. So this year, wanted to highlight, we have two fabulous coordinators that have been working really hard on our early career symposium. So Meina Zhu and Lucas Vasconcelos, who's hosting our webinars. He's also been hard at work getting the early career symposium together. And I know next year, Lucas, you're going to be the point person for the early career symposium. So, and just to point out, a lot of our positions in RTD, we have this apprenticeship model. So we don't typically throw people in just like, okay, just Lucas, go figure this out next year. We really try and have this overtime mentorship approach. So, but yeah, just want to give a shout out. This is a lot of work. It's a lot of moving pieces to pull together to develop these apprentice mentor experiences and relationships. And I know there's a ton of care that goes into this. So just want to highlight the good work that's been in there. We have 12 participants this year, and this is pretty typical about this size. I love the symmetry. We have 6 advanced doctoral students this year and 6 early career faculty. So again, there's benefit, I think, for the early career faculty to remember what it was like back when they were still doing their doctoral work and a little bit more hopeful about the world, and for those doctoral students to hear the realities of what it's like once they have a position. So those 12 there's going to be a lot of peer learning, a lot of peer relationships that are formed. I still have friendships from my own experience in early career symposium. So those friendships, if you're fortunate enough to be in this group, you will benefit, for your career from the relationships that are formed. We have 4 amazing mentors, and again, these are kind of very familiar names. Every year when I read this list, I'm like, oh yeah, of course those are the mentors. These are folks that are known around AECT. These are well-trusted scholars in our field. They will give advice and insight to our participants as always. And I'll just put them out there. These are 4 people that if you happen to see them around the convention, for any of you, not just early career folks, but grab these folks, grab coffee, grab lunch. There's a lot of wisdom. And so these 4, just again, a special shout out and special thanks to Royce Kimmons, who's actually our current president for 2 more weeks of Research and Theory Division. Royce has stepped up in addition to all the other responsibilities, is going to be a fabulous mentor. Victor Law, Rob Moore, and Gamza Azagol are 4 mentors. And again, they're just all fabulous people. So if you see them, offer to buy them a coffee. It will be well worth your time to get their wisdom around the convention. And we also, Lucas and Meina also pulled together 5 fantastic guest speakers who, again, just experts in our field and highly respected around. So Charlie Rageluth, David Wiley, Lin Lipsmeyer, Pavlo Antonenko, and Feng Ke. 5, again, just if you've been around AECT, you know these these names. These are the leaders. These are mentors for all of us. And so again, just for these early career colleagues to get to benefit from the wisdom from these 5, it's going to be a fantastic time. If you have done early career symposium, find somebody in research and theory and tell your stories. I know a lot of us have been through it. We've all benefited. I love hearing the stories of other past participants. And if you haven't done early career symposium and you're still in that pre-tenure, either student or pre-tenure in your career path, sign up next year. Lucas is going to be leading it. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be as better than ever. It's just, it just keeps getting better and better. Our pool of mentors and guest speakers and their participants it's just awesome. So if you haven't yet, write it down now. Sign up, apply early in the spring. You'll see information coming out. But yeah, you cannot be overly excited for early career symposium. It is awesome. All right, the second thing that is a hallmark initiative of Research and Theory Division is our Theory Spotlight competition. This is actually our third year, and we started this a few years ago. Heather Leary really spearheaded this and has continued to be involved. And Heather and I did a lot of the work this year. But this was really meant to be a chance to showcase the theories that guide our field. And we tried to have the prompt have this edge of what should the theories be that guide AECT, that guide our field of educational technology, instructional design. Not just what are the theories that we typically go to, but what should they be? In the future, I think we might reiterate this or reimagine this to be a little bit of what are some new theories that could emerge. Let's propose some new theories. But for this year, it was what are the theories that should guide us, and so we had three finalists who each proposed a theory. And these are all existing theories, but they're ones that they wanted to highlight and bring to our attention. And really, all three I find fascinating. These presentations and the write-ups are available. We'll publicize those around the convention as well, but did want to highlight our three finalists here. First, we have two, I said, we have two semi-fabulous coordinators because I'm one of them. So half, Heather Leary is absolutely fabulous. I'll take us down a notch to be semi-fabulous. But again, Heather and I have been working hard on this. And we had three finalists that I want to highlight. So we had a contribution from Florida State University. And the theory here is entangled pedagogy and ecological perspective for meaningful technology integration. So again, a lot of us are pretty familiar with ecological perspectives on learning and performance. This contribution highlighted some of that as well. The second group came to us from Indiana University in Bloomington, and we are all awash with AI conversations these days, and this contribution really pointed us to a theory of inclusive AI. And so again, I think well worth checking out. And the third contribution is from Arizona State University, and it's, again, an ecological perspective, but an intersectional ecological theory, and again, a really interesting perspective to add to our work. So these are our three finalists. They are all worth checking out. We will make the recordings and the papers that these participants have developed. We'll make those available soon. So watch the RTD social media channels. All right, the third distinctive initiative of RTD is our featured research. And I think this can kind of fly under the radar as this is absolutely owned by RTD. We have a featured research coordinator who is Spencer Greenhall. This is a one-year position, so this continually rotates. They get to read some of the most ambitious and interesting proposals that come into AECT. There's a special drop-down option in the drop-down menu for featured research every year. So even though it's really a call for all of AECT, but it's housed within RTD. And so again, this year we were able to select 3 presentations. We actually had 10 submissions, so it's a little bit more competitive than I'll talk about acceptance rates later, but we had 10, really all of them very high quality proposals. The ones that aren't selected for featured research, we do direct them. Spencer redirected them into different divisions, so it's not like if you don't get the featured, you don't get to present at AECT. If you don't get selected as one of our handful of finalists, you are able to hopefully give that presentation through a division. So we had 3. First was from Quality Matters and really focusing on creating a culture of quality around online course design. I have the times in here because these will actually be concurrent sessions at the conference. One of the benefits of being a featured research recipient is that you get a full hour to talk about your topic. So our first is Bethany Simonuk from Quality Matters, and she is going to be speaking on Monday morning, 9 a.m. So the Monday of the conference, just as we're getting warmed up, we're going to have a great featured research session. So she gets a whole hour to tell us about creating a culture of quality. Our second one is just then right after at 10 a.m. On Monday morning. And this is a team from Texas Tech. And their focus is mental fatigue and online learning environment. So again, you're creating a culture of quality, think about mental fatigue. Like these are really interesting. So I really highly recommend checking out some of the featured research sessions. So again, full hour to think about mental fatigue and online learning, 10 to 11 on Monday. And our third feature research finalist is going to happen Tuesday morning during our virtual time slots. So this year, to accommodate and try and make all of us be able to participate, those of us in Orlando, be able to easily participate in the virtual sessions. These are happening at the beginning and the end of the day. So at 7 a.m. on Tuesday, we'll have a virtual presentation for featured research from Erica Dale Stevens at Walter State Community College. This is just one of my favorite titles that I've read from anyone this year at AECT, Shakespeare and Social Presence, the Power of Virtual Reality and Remote Education. And again, as you think about these three titles for featured research, you start to get a taste of what Research and Theory Division is all about. But these are absolutely going to be phenomenal, fascinating presentations. So hope you can attend at least one, if not all three, of these featured research sessions. They're going to be awesome. And there's enough time to really unpack all the really interesting parts of these topics. All right, so those are the three kind of distinctives of what makes us RTD, or the extra things that we do that are a little bit different than the other divisions. And again, always want to highlight our we invest in early career folks with the Early Career Symposium. We really try and promote and highlight theory through our theory spotlight competition, and we're trying to showcase the best of research that's out there through this featured research initiative. So that's RTD. All right. Now, I know one of the things that we always like to look for is sort of the big picture. You know, so what are the numbers? How does this compare to past years? You know, it's always interesting and worth noting. So this next little bit is just going to be looking at Research and Theory Division at the convention, and what are some of the numbers that we know. We received 104 proposals specifically to Research and Theory Division this year, which is a lot. It's more, I think, than we've had in maybe ever. So we got a ton of submissions. What that means is, and I want to give out a shout out to our entire division, because each proposal, we are committed to getting 3 reviews, 3 independent reviews of every proposal that comes in. So if we have 104 proposals, we need 312 reviews. And again, if most people are reviewing like 3 to 5 things, that's a lot of reviewers. So we had so many amazing volunteers. Thank you to everybody who stepped up. This is an entire division effort. You know, I got to kind of see the pieces moving, but it's all of you all who made this possible. So again, fantastic number of proposals. We had a lot of really high quality stuff come in. We had really great reviews. I appreciate the generosity in trying to make every one of these studies a little bit better. So really pleased with the quality of review that we had. We actually had one extra review. We had we had one paper that we just ended up getting 4 reviews. So we actually had one more than we needed. So we had 313 reviews submitted. Thanks to all of you. So again, you all are awesome. Thank you. Now we had more proposals than ever, we had more reviewers than ever, but then there's the reality of we only have so much time in a day, we only have so much physical space in a conference center, and so every division, based on how many submissions they were getting, was allotted a certain amount of time of content that we were allowed to have. So we were given 28 hours of content and 11 posters. So we absolutely maxed out our 11 posters, of course. The 28 hours, there's a little bit of discretion in there, because some sessions take up, or some proposals are going to take up a full hour. Other proposals, you can get 2 in an hour. So a lot of and I'll say more about this as I go through and look at the different types. What this meant, I'll say exactly how all this played out in a sec, but having that allotment meant that we could accept 63 out of the 104 proposals. So we had about a 61% acceptance rate, we definitely had to say no to some proposals that were really wonderful that I would have absolutely loved to see. So if that was you, if you had a proposal that didn't make it, it's not necessarily because of quality. It's just the reality of limited space, limited time. I hope you will continue developing your ideas. Submit it next year. I would absolutely, again, I think the interest level is there. Just hopefully take some of that feedback into account, and we'd love to see you at AECT 24. Our feature research allotment, we got 3 hours of content, and we had 10 proposals. And again, because every featured research, the benefit there is that you get a full hour. It means we can only accept 3. With 3 hours of content, we can only accept 3 proposals. So again, a little bit more competitive acceptance rate, but we tried to redistribute those to different divisions where it made sense for the 7 that were not able to fit. All right, so in terms of what we're looking at, how all this plays out. So on site in Orlando, if you're going to be there in the hotel at the convention in Orlando, here's what to expect. So we're going to have 11 posters. This year is a little bit different. All the posters across the whole of AECT are going to be hosted on Sunday afternoon, and it's going to be in conjunction with our welcome reception. So Research and Theory Division will have a table in that space. There'll be, kind of all the usual welcoming of first-timers in that space, just a chance to intermingle and be together. I think we're going to have a competition where the division presidents go around and kind of rate the top posters in across our division and across the AECT. So it's going to be a lot of energy Sunday afternoon. So if you can, try to get to Orlando by midday or early afternoon. So then by late afternoon, you can hit the poster session, which is also the welcome reception. There's going to be some snacks and drinks, and just all your friends will be there. It's going to be a great time. So posters are kind of front and center. They're going to be our entry point into the conference, and it's going to be great. So RTD will have 11 of the over 100 posters that are there. We are having 21 concurrent sessions. These are 1 hour or 15 minutes, so there's transition time in between. But in every concurrent session, we have 2 talks, 2 presentations. So we're giving everybody a little bit more time this year. So in past years, we kept squeezing, it seems like in recent years, squeezing shorter and shorter talks. We wanted to give everybody just more time to explain their research and talk about the great work that you're doing. So every paper, every proposal gets 20 minutes and then time for Q&A. And so we'll have a 15-minute window, 2 papers in that time slot, and we have 21 of those time slots for RTD. So 42, if you do the math. We have 42 concurrent papers. We have 3 featured research sessions that I highlighted earlier. They're each taking up that full hour. We also have 3 panels. These are also sometimes called symposia. Basically there's a panel of experts that are going to talk on a topic. All 3 are fantastic. So if you look up the Research and Theory Division panels, they're all excellent. The panelists are, again, names that you're going to know. A lot of people from that mentor and guest speaker list are going to be on our RTD panels as well. And they each take up the full hour. And then finally, we have a practice session, which, and this one is actually being facilitated by Heather Leary, our past president of RTD. And the focus on this one is research practitioner partnerships. So again, just really practical, like how do we do research better? And how do we partner better with our participants? So that's going to be a practice session to really just get hands-on and develop some skills. It's going to be really good. We also have some online offerings through the division. So we're going to have 2 concurrent sessions. They're each 4 talks that are 20 minutes each, split out across 2 concurrent sessions. And then a work in progress session. So two papers that, again, we wanted to try and include great ideas that they don't have necessarily results to report yet, or maybe they will by the time we get there. But at the time of submitting the proposals, these were things that they were just getting started, research ideas that were just getting started, and we thought they were so good we wanted to include them. And so these are all going to be hosted on Zoom, again, either at the very beginning of the day or at the very end of the day, but that way you don't have to worry about ducking out of a session in the afternoon and jumping on Zoom. You can either start your day on Zoom before you leave your hotel room, or then kind of at the end of the day as you're wrapping up, turn on these Zoom sessions and again, continue to learn and network. It's going to be good. All right, so those are some of the numbers, kind of broad view. Then I wanted to put on my qualitative hat a little bit and get into, well, what are some of the themes? What are some of the things that we know from all these proposals, the 63 papers that we were able to accept? What do we know? So being a computational analysis kind of guy, I threw all of this. I did some kind of preliminary natural language processing on way to where it could have done some topic modeling, but basically just grabbed all the titles of these 63 papers and then the three featured research. So these 66 pieces that we have, put all those in there, and unsurprisingly, what you might note is that learning is going to be a major theme for the Research and Theory Division. We're going to talk a lot about online. We're going to talk about education, analysis, networks, instructional practices, design and research. Again, the things that you might expect from Research and Theory Division, but it's always nice to see that reinforced with actual evidence. So through some computational analysis of the session titles, yes, you are going to get what you'd expect. This is another view. It's a little bit easier to read. This first one has, I think, nearly every word in the title. So the really tiny font are words that only showed up once. Here I have it filtered, laid out a little bit differently and filtered. So all of the green words show up at least twice in different titles. But again, you can kind of see some of the major things. So we're going to be practical with words like using and analysis and things like that. We're also going to get into theory. We're going to talk about learning and students and literacy and all kinds of great stuff. So again, kind of broad, our broad computational approach shows us, yes, we're going to get what you'd expect from research and theory. I also did a little bit of a hand-coded theme. So this was computationally coded, machine-coded, and then I wanted to do a hand-coded version as well. So I built the sessions. I tried to pair things that made sense together. And as I did that, I made note of some of the things that stood out to me, some of the themes that emerged to my human eyes. So not just frequencies, but significance. So we definitely have some sessions that are really tapping into this theme of our 100 years of AECT. We have a couple sort of historic retrospectives, that are looking back across journals, across the conference of, over a span of decades. Where have we been? Where have we come from? So I'm excited that that's a major theme, that you all picked up on that and submitted proposals along those lines. Researcher practitioner partnerships, another major theme. So again, our practice session that Heather Leary is leading is focused on this, but we have a handful of other presentations and sessions that are going to be focused on this as well. Again, kind of thinking through what are our foundations as a field, and I mean, these better partnerships between researchers and practitioners is going to be a really key part of that. We also have some sessions on how to publish theoretical articles, which again really fits the values of our division, where we're not just about the tools, we're not just about research methods, but we want to ground everything that we do deeply in theory. And if you lead with that, I know a lot of us have talked about over the years, it can be hard to publish theoretical pieces. And so we actually do have some sessions about some best practices that I think will give some great wisdom, both experiences, but also recommendations of how to keep pushing theory out, because we need that. And in an era of big data and AI, and it's easy to do analysis these days. Theory continues to be both difficult and also foundational. So we want to make sure we maintain those foundations. We have papers quite a bit, not surprising, knowing who we are as AECT and RTD. We have quite a bit on open education. We have work on self-directed learning, collaborative learning, again, kind of these foundational, not classic, but definitely in recent years, some of the foundational ideas about performance and learning that we know in our field, and certainly have been well represented in recent years in research and theory division. We've got more of those, and then finally, kind of on the emergent end, we have quite a few papers on computational thinking, on learning analytics, on AI, machine learning. So again, kind of that emerging end of pushing forward. I get excited about these too, not just because they're emerging technologies and methodologies that are taking advantage of our access to more data and more advanced forms of computation, but these again are going to be rooted in theoretical foundations. So again, kind of you're going to get what you'd expect from research and theory, but the span of our sessions are going to be both backward looking and forward looking. They're going to both be deeply rooted in who we are and where we've come from, and also who we're becoming and what we might be able to do. So we're getting the full span in and across these sessions. All right, one last thing, just as like a little teaser for the convention, we're going to have an RTD bingo card. So if you find us at that opening session, find me, find our RTD table, we will have a stack of RTD bingo cards. And so the idea is as you attend these different, mostly RTD events, although there are a few AECT things. So like if you go to the keynote, you would fill in that square. If you go to our RTD membership meeting, you fill in that square. If you find us at the welcome reception, you can immediately fill in the welcome reception square. But otherwise, this is just to highlight, and you can make note of the RTD offerings that you go to. So each RTD concurrent session, fill it in, mark a box. If you each poster where you stop and have a meaningful chat, fill in a box. And the idea is if you with bingo, if you get 5 across, 5 down, or one of the diagonals, you can come and find us, and we have a handful of kind of extra special swag. Not all our swag is going to be great. Stuff we'll give away, but we'll have a handful of things that are going to be a little bit above and beyond. So come and find. I think Heather Leary is in charge of our sort of giveaways and our prizes. So bring your completed bingo card once you have 5 in a row. Find Heather. She's leading like 7 sessions or something, so she should be easy to find. If you're attending a bunch of RTD things, you'll see Heather. But yeah, find Heather, show her your bingo card, and we'll make sure we get you a special prize if you're one of the first 2 or 3 or something. I don't know. We don't have infinite prizes, but yeah. Our main goal is to have you attend. We love to see you, love to interact with you. Every one of these sessions, I know the presenters are trying to make them interactive and interesting and engaging, and they're looking for your feedback. They want your expertise, as well as they're going to offer their own. I know I'm in charge of our membership meeting. I'm going to try and make that really engaging. Actually, I think Royce technically is, but anyway, we're going to try and make the membership meeting as engaging as possible. We have a variety of division awards that we're giving away, just really fantastic contributions across the division that we want to recognize this past year. So mostly the point of the bingo card is to just keep track of all the amazing things that you've done with RTD this year. And then, if it happens to work out, we will give you a little something extra at the end of the conference. All right, so those are some of my notes. I'm excited. I can't wait to see you. Again, there are so many different things going on. We have so many interesting people, so many interesting themes that run through Research and Theory Division. It's going to be a great moment both to look back at who we've been and those deep foundations that we have, both as AECT and as a Research and Theory Division, as well as get to hear from folks that are pushing us forward as we look forward into figuring how do we attend to the learning and performance of as many people as possible, and using the tools at hand well well and carefully and wisely as we move into the future. So if you have questions, I know we have some time now. I'm happy to answer questions now. I want to throw this out there. How can we as a division support you leading up to and at the convention? Please find me, find Lucas. I'll volunteer Royce and Heather as our other presidents. And then I put my email on here, our RTD website's on here. So don't hesitate to reach out.
Thank you so much, Dr. Willett. That was very insightful. To our attendees, if you have questions, feel free to unmute yourself or type them in the chat.
Yes, please. And I know some people will watch this later. So again, just feel free to shoot me an email. Reach out through any of our social media channels. And as a division board, we're here to support you. So we want this to be the best convention yet for everybody.
One of our attendees, Candace, asks, she saw that some of the sessions are fee-based, and so she wants to know how she's able to distinguish between a session that's fee-based or not.
Yeah, so that's great. I actually did not include any of the fee-based because we did not review those as a division. Any of the fee-based workshops are reviewed at the AECT level. So I did not include them, even though a number of them are absolutely rooted in theory and absolutely rooted in cutting-edge methodologies. And so, of course, we would want to own them. The easiest way would be to, if you go through the all academic catalog for the convention, the schedule, and you read about a session, it should be marked clearly at the bottom of every session if it's a fee-based workshop. The other way to do it is you can search sessions by type. And so that's actually a great way to very quickly find those like featured research sessions, because we only have 3 of them and they're awesome. Or the practice session, like you can very quickly identify and go in and find the featured research, the practice sessions, panels, those types of things, just by searching by type. But then the fee-based workshops will also be listed in there. So if you can either click as you go through the schedule, click on it and look and make sure that it's not fee-based. Or if you really are looking for that workshop, because they are, they cost a little bit of money, but it's like 10 or 20 bucks for like really, really high quality instruction. So all the ones that I've ever been to have been well worth that little bit of fee. So if you're looking for one, you can also do that through the search session by type. I think they are mostly clustered towards the beginning and end of the conference, but I also, because it's not really been my purview, I have not looked. If you have a question about any particular session, again, feel free to email me. I'm happy to look something up as well.
Awesome. Other questions? All right, so the work in progress proposals, the results are not available before the proposal is submitted, but the data collection should be completed before the proposal is submitted. Is that correct?
Not always. Actually, the work in progress is really, it's different than like ARA, where ARA typically is very clear that they want a pretty fully developed study. For ACT, we want to preserve that space where people do have a good idea and they're just getting started and they want to share that, because we see ACT as a space to give feedback, to really continue to develop our ideas. And so if, I also recognize that it's a very long time between January, February when we submit the proposals and October when we show up. But we leave open the possibility that somebody, had this great idea for research, didn't really have time to get started yet, and wants to come to AECT and just get feedback and kind of continue to develop those ideas. So the works in progress session, I can't promise that they're going to be at that stage. That's where they were when they were proposed. It was more of an idea for an empirical study that hadn't gotten off the ground yet. They might still be in that stage and really looking for that interaction and feedback from you all as audience members, or who knows? I mean, they could be published by now. It just depends on the timeline of the research team, and and the methods that they were using. But yeah, that is, I think, a hallmark of AECT, is that we do want to include some of those very initial ideas, because we believe that we can make them better together.
And are those work in progress proposals accepted as a poster or a roundtable, or does it depend on the division?
Yeah. So this year, and this was a change, rather than doing any roundtables, we just called all of them works in progress. So again, if you look things up by session type, you'll see the works in progress session. And so they're their own standalone thing. We just wanted to distinguish, because sometimes roundtables are completed work, sometimes they're works in progress. This year we said, well, we're not going to actually title anything a roundtable, so that it's either concurrent or practice or panel or a work in progress. And so, yeah, so you can look them up by the ones, or they'll be labeled. If you stumble across something that looks interesting, it'll be clearly labeled as a work in progress, if that's where it's at. I think the other thing that we did differently this year, around the pandemic, we've gone back and forth about best modality for different sessions. I think nearly everything that we're doing in Orlando will be hybrid. So we will have, so any concurrent session, any panel that's on site is also going to be streamed into Zoom. I think our posters are going to be only fully present in Orlando. We're not going to try and make the posters virtual somehow. But then the works in progress are, I think, only going to be virtual. So that was another thing. And again, we don't have roundtables, so the roundtables are kind of became the works in progress, but more kind of forward facing with that, just owning the yes, these are the ideas that we want to really have some interaction around. Those are all going to be virtual to try and appeal to the broadest range of audience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome. What are opportunities to get engaged with RTD, and what is the timeline to run for elections?
Yeah, great questions. And I love the energy. Yes, please. The time to get involved with RTD is now. No, I mean, anytime. We love hearing from you. Email me, chat with Lucas. We're such a friendly group. Everybody on our board is just super friendly and amazing. And we'd love for you to get involved, even if you're not in an elected position. I'd say the number one thing at the convention is the members meeting, which is 8 a.m. on Monday. An unfortunate time, perhaps, but easy to remember. First thing Monday morning, get up, come to a members meeting. It'll be so good to see each other, meet new people. Again, we're going to honor some of the best work in our division through a variety of awards. So it's going to be a great morning. It'll be a great way to wake up. That's probably the number one place to, it sounds boring, but I've always been impressed. I feel like RTD always does a really friendly and engaging members meeting. So yeah, we will do our best to engage you, but please come. I promise the people will be friendly, and we strive to make the content interesting as well. So yeah, come to that. Even if it doesn't sound interesting, show up. You'll meet good people. It'll be worth it, I promise. And then the second one would be come to the reception on Sunday afternoon. So again, you get to see a bunch of our RTD posters, interact with people. We will have a table there. We'll have some giveaways. We got a whole new fresh batch of RTD gear to give away. So come say hi. We'll have our mailing list there, our email list there to sign up, but we'll also give you RTD stuff. And just a bunch of our friendly people will be there to chat. So those are probably those two things: the reception, welcome reception, and the member meeting are the easiest ways to get involved. Our call for election is one of the first things we do after the convention. So certainly by November, there will be information out about nominating someone else or self-nominating for a position on the RTD board or other division boards. And then I think that all gets finalized in December, early December. We will have our slate of candidates, and then I think voting starts in January sometime. So Yeah, so the timeline is chat people up, get to know us. Let's all get to know each other during the convention, and then in the weeks after, you'll hear more about elections.
Awesome. Other questions?
Lucas, while we're waiting, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What are you most excited about for the convention?
That's a good question, actually. Well, some people we only get to see on a yearly basis at the ACT convention, so being in person at the convention is a great opportunity to reconnect with people who you've presented with, or you're going to present with, or you're currently working on a manuscript with, and so it's great to meet in person. It's also a great opportunity to watch really good presentations and learn about what's being studied in the field currently. I suspect that there will be a few conversations about AI and ChatGPT and some other like learning analytics, some other hot topics in our field. So as much as I like as much as I think that the virtual participation is helpful, I think being in person is a bit more. It adds an extra layer of interactivity and networking as well. So, like you said, the ACT convention is our home organization, and it's almost like we're going back to seeing friends again, and we get to not only talk and network, but get to know people as well.
Yep. Yeah, that was really well said. And I mean, I'll just add, like, I think just sitting or standing in a hallway somewhere and just chatting for hours is probably the thing I look forward to the most. Because anyway, so if you see me lingering in a hallway, just please say hi. I've made so many important connections. Yeah. Anyway, so for me, it's the spaces around. Like, there's so much good content, but it's the spaces around that are I don't know. I mean, just career altering. I mean, you just never know who you're going to meet and the types of ideas that you'll come up with.
Yes. And to the folks who are new to AECT or new in the organization, start getting involved with your division as soon as possible. It's great to meet new people, to meet future collaborators, to learn about what's going on within the organization, but also beyond AECT in terms of teaching, research, and service opportunities. So we're really happy to see that a couple of people are new to ACT and they're attending this session, and we are, like Dr. Grant said, we are excited to meet you in Orlando.
Yep, absolutely. One of the things that I most appreciate about AACT is every single person is approachable. So even if you're like, so David Wiley, who's one of our special guest speakers for Early Career Symposium. He's also the past president or is he the current president? I don't know. He's been a president of AACT, and I mean, everybody knows him. Completely approachable person. Joy Moore, who's our conference planner and president-elect for AECT, like completely the nicest person. And it just, all the names on the textbooks that you've been reading in your graduate career, just every single person is just, they're good people across AECT. I'd say especially so in research and theory, but I'm biased. But yeah, just come to the convention just with an open schedule and open mind, and yeah, you never know who you'll find to collaborate with and become friends with.
Very well said, Brett. I know we're running out of time soon, so if somebody has one question to ask, this would be the time. I think no more questions.
All right. Yep. Email me if something occurs to you later. Find RTD through social media as well. But yeah, we're here for you. Or come just grab us as soon as you get there at the welcome reception. We will help you find like-minded scholars and friends.
Yes. Thank you everyone for attending the webinar. We appreciate your participation. Thank you to Dr. Willett for providing a great overview of RTD. We're looking forward to seeing you at the convention.
Thanks everyone. Looking forward to seeing you all there.
Thank you.